The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You out in California?
I am. Sorry for the blurry background. I'm like in the middle of packing my house up, and it is a mess behind me.
Oh, that's cool. I'm over in Richmond, Virginia, and it is really nice out today. It's like in the 70s with a nice no humidity. It's beautiful.
Oh, nice. Gotta love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about Atreyu. Longtime fan, by the way. So it's nice to finally get you on the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. The Hope of a Spark. I guess it's been out about a little over a month now, like 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
I know it's a 4-song EP, but what's been the response to it so far?
I mean, it's been cool. I mean, so far, I think that for us, trying to take the EP route and kind of release some songs in kind of smaller doses is proving to be exactly what we wanted it to be. I feel like just giving people the opportunity to just really digest your music fully as working so far. But it's been cool because, we just got off of about a month-long tour in the States, and it was really cool for us to like be able to play the whole EP live. You could put all the songs into the set and not have it kind of be overbearing new stuff. And, Drowning is was a really quick like jumper for us. Like that was like from the week it came out that started going nuts live. Obviously Watch Me Burn was going good. I mean, God Devil was a surprise for us. I mean, that song was going crazy live, and we didn't, you never know what to expect of the songs that aren't like singles or, the songs that don't have a light shined on them. But it's been really cool so far. People kind of been really connecting to all the songs, which is nice to put out a release and have all the songs getting a bit of a spotlight,
What was were you hesitant to try and do that with the new business model of the music business, where you're putting out shorter projects for consumption because people have such a smaller attention span, right?
Yeah, I guess I care less and less about the traditional kind of methods of things and more about how do we actually get people to have the opportunity to, like I said, digest all of the art. It's a tales all this time that you put out an album, you put out 12 songs on an album, and 4 of them get a light shined on them and are in the tens of millions of streams and, have all this attention. And then the other 8 are in like the hundreds of thousands, if that. Maybe they hit 1 million, they're in the dark, and you spent all this time on these songs. And we're not a band that has historically put out records with a bunch of filler. Like, it's hard to get songs past us. So for us, it's like, oh, well, man, like it just didn't have opportunity to get shown. So I'm all about alternative methods of release. I think that physical release really only lies in vinyl and cool like collectors kind of stuff these days. Right. I don't care about CDs. I couldn't play a CD if I wanted to. I don't have a CD in my car. I don't have a CD in my computer. I don't know. So it's like one of those things right there. But as far as just releasing things, I just want to release things that make it more accessible and easy to actually consume and digest. And I think that potentially is in singles and EP. I don't know everything or anything, so we'll see how it goes.
So when you were approaching it, then did you write like a bunch of songs and then pick 4 for this, and you've got more in the works, or did you just write the 4 for this EP and then you're going to start another 4 or whatever it is?
There's a greater story that will sort of unfold itself here pretty soon, and a kind of greater picture. But this was the first. This was like the first chapter of that, I'll say.
Okay. So I know you said the record or the EP has been doing well and the response has been great, but I think not only is the music amazing, but I think you deal with like some really heavy, maybe universal topics that everyone coming out of the last 3 years of the nonsense we were dealing with can identify with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're trying to just be exactly that, just kind of brutally honest and talk about things that we think people need to talk about, and feel things that people need to know it's okay to feel,
So, do you feel a sense of responsibility then with your lyrics to the fans?
I mean, sort of. I would be dumb to be like to not feel that sense of responsibility. I mean, being in a band for as long as we have, and having being fortunate enough to have the career that we've had, like it'd be stupid to think that we didn't affect people.
Right.
And if you have some sort of soapbox to stand on, it doesn't always have to be specific to a cause or an emotion or whatever. But I think at very least it can be sort of letting people that are listening know how you're feeling, and maybe they can relate to that. So there's definitely, I mean, there is a pressure there. I think that there's an importance to lyrics and importance to what we're actually saying, for sure.
So I said the responsibility thing, and I'm going to say that again. But do you feel a responsibility to the metal scene as a whole? Because you guys were sort of like the originators of this sort of genre, I think, way back in the late '90s, right?
I mean, one of them, maybe. I mean, like, there's been awesome press that has awesome quotes about us inventing things, but I think it's all out of context. But I mean, I think that where we came from when we started, there wasn't a lot of bands doing what we were doing. There was very few of us. It was, in our kind of era, it was us and Avenged Sevenfold and Killswitch Engage,
Right.
and Poison the Well, and a handful of other bands that were kind of mixing the melodic and maybe a little even on the West Coast, a little bit more of the punk elements and things. But I don't know that we have like a responsibility to the metal scene. You know what I mean? I feel like we don't. It's been a long time since we were open arms welcomed into one scene. We're kind of just have our hands and feet in a lot of them. And I think that has all been so incredibly blended these days with there's no genre anymore. Like people don't listen to one thing anymore.
Right.
I feel like it's so rare. And the ones that do, unfortunately, the ones that do are metalheads. Like it's like
right.
It's like if there is one like in a box, like it's a lot, it's those like dedicated metalheads, which is fine. I think the majority of the population is just listening to everything.
Whatever comes on, right? Or just a mixed up playlist.
Yeah. I always joked. I mean, I always got asked the question, like, what's your guilty pleasure? And I haven't had one since I was like in my early 20s, when I realized, like, why would I feel guilty about listening to music that I like, regardless of what it is? And I think that concept that's the norm these days, I think.
So I think that makes a whole lot of sense, right? Because if the music connects with you, it doesn't matter if it's Taylor Swift or country or, death metal, right? It's if it connects somehow and you get something.
I like it all.
I get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
I like it all. I mean, literally, like, it's funny, those three things. Like, we listen to my daughter is 6, and we take on the way to kindergarten every day. Most days, a lot of them, we listen to "Welcome to New York" with Taylor Swift. Right. Do I care? No, it's a great song. Right. And then, but I also like what is it like? There's like the 26th anniversary of the In Flames album "Colony," one of my favorite metal bands of all times. And then at the same time, last night I watched the Jelly Roll documentary, and that "Son of a Sinner," song is a great country song. Like I'm down for it all.
That's great.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.
So when you guys are you guys writing the song like for the song's sake, or are you writing a song for how it's going to come across on the stage?
I mean, it definitely crosses our mind. When you're in the studio, it definitely crosses your mind where you're like, oh, this is going to hit live. Like, this is going to be the part. Right. But I think that sort of comes secondary. Like we have those moments where, you do want to get the tempo or that kind of one little head bobbing moment. Like, there's a moment on in our wake, a song called Anger Left Behind the tempo is perfect. And every time we play it live, I have all of the lights on our stage doing the same thing because it's hilarious because the tempo and the visual, you have thousands of people all doing the same thing. But like, so that comes to mind for sure. I think that the song builds itself first, like just how it feels in the studio. And then that kind of like maybe the parts to kind of adapt to a cool live experience too. Because that is a huge part of our band. I mean, the live experience is, a very, very big part of our band.
Right. So you ever imagine you'd still be doing this for whatever, 20 years, 25 plus years? I'm guessing we're in it now.
25 years next year. I think that when we started, I didn't have a realistic idea of time or where this would go. I think when you're a kid and you hop in a van with your friends and the only thing that matters is hopping in a van with your friends, you kind of like don't have what am I going to, is this going to work still in 20 plus years? And the fact that we've been a band for, like I said, next 25 years, and I still feel like we have ground to cover and we still keep kind of breaking these milestones, having these new kind of wins for our team and for our band. That's an incredible thing. It's funny because we talk about this all the time. Again, I bring up kids and, you meet parents at school and it's like, what do you do? And it's like, I'm a musician.
Right.
And they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm in a band. And they're like, oh, like the second question is always, are you famous? And I'm like, well, it depends on what kind of music you listen to.
Define famous. Right.
Yeah. Like define famous. And it's like, and they're like, well, how is your band big? And I'm like, define big. I'm like, right. I put it this way. I'm like, being in a band is my job for the last 25 years.
Right.
I'm like,
pays my
so
bills.
that's the only thing that I do. And they're always like, oh, okay, cool. But I mean, that's a crazy thing to say out loud. And I think we're very fortunate to be here. And I think that we're a band that's always, we've had our ups and downs, we've had our twists and turns. And I think that somehow we sort of come out the other end stronger every time. And I think that that's just like a testament of our sort of bond and our friendship. Like we are actual friends. We grew up together, and we care about this. So it's one of those things that, it's crazy to think about. It's a long time to do anything.
It is. And it's a long time to do anything in this weird business that you're in, right? This music business chews people out quicker than anything. And, to say you're still here 25 years later is pretty amazing.
It's pretty insane. I mean, we've seen a lot of bands, get a lot bigger than us and are gone now. We've seen a lot of bands never get even to where we are and they're gone now. So it's one of those things where it's like, we're still here, and not only still here, but it's like still going
relevant.
Well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's an awesome thing. And, we're very fortunate, and that's not lost on us at all.
What do you guys have planned for the rest of the year? I know you said you just got off a run. You got other stuff coming up?
Yeah, we'll be doing probably another run in the States. That's kind of in the mix right now, getting planned, and then we're doing, it's basically a world tour. We announced the We Want Your Skulls world tour, the first, which is Europe, UK, in November, December. And then we will sort of be announcing more legs of that in the States, Australia, hopefully. We're doing some shows in Canada with Iron Maiden. That'll be a part of that. But it's we're going to kind of it bit by bit. So we're planning on taking the whole world.
Awesome. What's it like touring post pandemic? Is it very, very different for you guys, or is it kind of just?
Now it's fine. I mean, the first tour we did in 21? Mm-hmm. Was it 21? It was weird. Like, there were still lots of rules, and we were trying to be very dadish on tour and get other bands to like adapt to, safety protocols and stuff, which was fucking hopeless. It's like wrangling a bunch of children, and like I've never had to yell at dudes in bands before in my life. And I, looking back, it's like, was it necessary? Was it not? At the time, all we wanted to do was finish a tour. Right. And it's like, all I know is that I know how much that tour bus costs. And I know how much I have to pay our crew no matter what happens. I know how much all this costs. So all I want to do is finish the tour so that I don't lose like tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
I think when people can have that perspective, it was a little weird and nerve wracking, and the trying to kind of do all the normal things you do were a little strange, but now it's back to like it never happened. It's so rare that you see a mask at a show. I'm back in the crowd freaking sipping on people's beers. It's not it's
Right.
Back to being my ignorant self. But yeah, I mean, it's cool again. It was weird for a little while, but I think we kind of pushed out the other side. It's fine now.
Sweet. That's going to bring me to the end of my questions. I don't know if I missed anything you wanted to cover. I really love the EP.
Yeah.
Been banging it.
Man.
Sorry about the screw up earlier trying to get this worked out, but
Oh, no worries, man. It was all good. No worries at all.
I appreciate you taking the time. And I don't know if you're swinging this way on the run, but hopefully we'll catch you on this side somewhere.
We should be out there. Yeah, we didn't do tons of eastern states, so we should be back out there hopefully in the fall.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate
Awesome,
it, man. Be well.
Thanks. Take it easy.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.